It's now time.
I'm so excited.
Oh no! I do love you, but bye.
Oh, it's so wrong. I gotta go. I got something to do. Not as exciting as this. I'll tell you that right now, but.
Hello, Tommy, or should I say Tommy from Finland, as you were loving me the entire time.
Hi, Ollie. Tommy from Finland.
Yeah, I loved it. But first of all, I've got to ask you, how are you doing? Obviously, now that the episode's aired, everything's out there. How are you? How are things?
I'm good. I'm just like glad the kind of TV entertainment that we got last night, and I hope everyone was entertained as I was. Like, and I loved it. Like, I haven't said anything to even my close family members how the game went, because I wanted to them have the same feeling that I had. The security and the joy of having necklace on Tommy in the like early stage of the episode, and still being the episode that Tommy's going home. It was a wild ride, but like it's a great TV.
I mean, absolutely wild and great TV, and we will get there. I want to pedal back first to kind of the start of the game, and actually first ask you, what was it like to get the call to say, we're doing this series, AU versus the world, and we want you, Tommy from Finland, on it. What was that feeling like, and what made you say yes to being a part of the season?
Still got goosebumps when thinking about that day and that email. For me, I have realized in the past year or so that like many of my all-time favorites, they have never won the show. But of course, I lost my season by one vote in the jury. So I was going for the sole survivor title. And of course, I was missing something from my game because I couldn't get that. And so to get the email that they want to have me compete among the best when we are doing this world against Australia, which is never done before, and all the best players around the world are playing. So, of course, I was a little bit giddy from that email. I was like, oh, okay, someone recognized my game. But like, let's go. And then just to fast forward a few months when we go and Samoa, and when I see all those players in the first challenge, I really realized that I'm standing among some of the best players this franchise have ever seen. So, lifetime dream for me.
I was going to say, and you were a part of that. Like, I know you are a super fan. So what was that feeling like when you got onto the mat and you saw the likes of Sari, like Parvati, Tony, like Rob on your tribe, but also kind of the Golden God, the King of the Jungle, Janine, the Godmother? Like, what was that feeling?
It's something that like, when in the first episode I saw Lisa crying about Siri, that is the feeling that I can really feel about my tribe also. Although the Australian tribe, but after the Rob left home, we got the flinch, but it was super hard to make fire in the pitch dark jungle. I made it happen that night after this like pouring rain. So everyone was there wet and cold and like maybe even sad because we had to vote someone out in the first place. I made the fire, and none of us was believing that anything is going to happen in that night with the fire. I made it, and how the Siri, the legend of the game, came and hugged me, and I was like, thank you, Tommy. I couldn't believe you pulled this off. And the next morning when I woke up, right next to fire, like dog in on the beach or like next to fireplace, and I saw through the smoke that there's Tony and Parvati, and I was like, this is beyond the wildest dream. Like, my brain is not braining in this moment.
Yeah, I could imagine being a super fan that would just be an absolute fever dream to live. In terms of your game, we saw you bond so closely with Cass and Lisa. What was it that kind of drew you to them? And was there anyone else that you really worked closely with at that start that we didn't really see?
Lisa and Cass was since the day one the Pinky Alliance that we had. And because none of those people knew who we were, we were the small countries, United Nations, that also gave us some unity and the reason that like why we are seeking comfort and power from each other. And I think that worked really well. I could really trust those guys. But I also, because of the situations, talked a lot with the guys in our beach when the Women Alliance was firming. I was the one talking a lot with Tony and talking about the game, talking who has the key. Also, keep Tony's sanity in somewhat control because, like, if Tony is feeling vulnerable, he's going berserk. So I was just there, like, I got this, man. We got Lisa, we got Cass. Like, chill, try to be chill. Okay, with the shoe on the neck, I couldn't like control the Tony for the whole time, but I made the best out of that situation. And also with Luke, I was after merge. I couldn't. I didn't have a situation that I could have played with Luke how I would have wanted because I wanted to go world strong in the first tribal, and then in the second he was going against Cedri, which wasn't in my best interest. So, but I always in the world talks was keeping Luke's name out of the conversation, and also with Luke we were going, and even in the last tribal I was talking with the Luke, and I think he DM'd me this morning because it's 9 a.m. and I've been doing these interviews. I haven't had time to see what Luke have sent me, but I hope it's the video that says that, like, Tommi, you were really going for poverty and it wasn't scam. But like, I don't know, I haven't seen that video. But like with Luke, I couldn't talk much because I don't want to be in the jungle with poverty that Luke used that as a weapon against me and goes that like poverty is Tommy's going against poverty and blah blah blah. But I was telling to Luke even in the final tribal that like I'm working on something. You are not in the danger. Let me work on this, and it obviously didn't happen. But those might be two names.
Right, and we did see you work with Luke a little bit, but not obviously as much. And we saw you at Final 8. You had one individual immunity, and we saw you want to make this move against Parvati. So tell me what the plan was there to make that happen?
I think it all happened after merge because I knew my position in game. I even said that like I wouldn't vote myself to be a winner in the final jury. So I'm not here to outlast people. I'm here to like gain reputation, and I want to win this competition, and I need to have names. So in the Kirby's episode, I tried to go against Cass because Parvati offered me some cookies in the morning for breakfast, and I fell for Black Widow's net, and I was like, okay, we're playing together, I see. So I went for Parvati and saying that like, so because of all those immunity challenges, should we vote against Cass? That would have broke the Pinky Alliance and made move for me, and I would have also still have Lisa, and Lisa is close with Siri, so that might be the trio which is then going against Poverty. I don't know. But I tried to say Cass name, then Cass won the immunity, and after we come back to camp, Cass confronts me and says that like, hey, I'm hearing from Poverty that you are trying to vote against me. Not just that like I'm hearing my name in the jungle. The whole thing just 5 hours after I have like told that to Poverty. So that didn't happen. I was glad that they still wanted to vote with me with Kirby. That's why I was like really quiet in that episode. I was just like doing my best to like ensure them that like I'm still with them. Sorry, this thing happened, but like let's move on, kind of thing. And in the final episode, I still wanted to have some name on my resume, and that's why I was heading for the Queen and wanted to go down swinging. And when the first tribal started, and Luke started this beautiful snowball effect against our alliance, I knew that like shit had hit the fan, but like I didn't care in that moment. I had the necklace, so I was like, okay, let's go for Shawnee. I can still say on the beach for Poverty and Siri that I was sincere with them in the whole way, and I was voting as I was saying. There was no plot against Poverty. Let's do the damage control in the beach. Then Jonathan goes like, okay, let's go again. I'm there back against the wall, and then I was like, okay, let's try the Australian scramble. I knew it's either me or Lisa, so thank you, Lisa. Poverty and Siri. Poverty, I tried to play with you yesterday. I wanted to go against Cass. You didn't want to play with me. Bye. So, Australians, you want to do something with me? It didn't happen, but I made the best out of the worst situation.
I was gonna say, yeah, we saw it all hit the fan afterwards because obviously it turned into a double tribal evening. Did you think you had a chance to get the Aussies on side after Luke had won immunity?
I really thought so, but I've been saying for everyone after the episode aired that it's kind of the one of those things that it's you either make the decision with your brain or heart. And I was trying to reason them with the logic that like this is the best chance to even try to broke poverty's and serious alliance. I'm gonna tell you how I'm gonna vote. Use that information how you want, but that's the logic and that's the brain. I also believe and truly understand the Australian decision with their heart because they came to that tribal 5-against-3 and they had like no talks in the beats that like no one wanted to know how they are gonna play. So they made their game, they got rid of Cass, and they are now in the driver's seat and they want to make the decisions. They don't want to hear anymore the Finnish people, Tommi, talking that like how we should do. They wanted to tell how they are gonna do, and they did what they wanted.
Yeah, they certainly did. And unfortunately, it ended in your demise, which was so sad to see. I've got a couple more questions. The first one I want to ask you is, we saw you kill it in the immunity challenges. It was so fun to watch you in those. Did you have a kind of favorite one? Because we saw you really have fun in the last gasp and the tower one, the final one. What one did you enjoy?
I'm like they have brutal challenges in Finland. That's like in Finnish Survivor, audience love challenges, like, and they are harder than in most countries. Like if some countries have balance beam, which is like this flat, they will put it this way so it's even narrow. So that's the Finnish way. They wanna see us suffer, but because I have seen Australian Survivor, I have seen your battles 1-against-1 in the water. The one where you guys have to swim against the river, that was brutal one. I couldn't have done it. Many of the people in that season couldn't do that. And Australian challenges, they are brutal, like the last gasp. And I have to say that that was my favorite because that and the challenge that I saw left home, the balancing balls, you had that in the like last time in Kirby's season at least with the tower blocks or something like that. I was watching that with my wife and saying like that is really hard challenge. As it seems in the my last challenge, it was even harder with balls and I couldn't do it. The last gasp was same when I watched it on TV. I was like, I can't do that. But I was freaking amazing in that challenge. I couldn't believe that I was already winning when they were pulling me out. The situation was that like they were tapping me to like tap out and I wasn't coming out. I was there like chilling. I was like, this can't be over yet. Then they tap again and I'm opening my arms, just like waving them, like, what is going on? And then they pulled from my leg and I was like, okay, this is already over. I won everyone, but I didn't even have to try in this point. So that is the one that I really enjoyed because I got into my Zen mode, but I also would have wanted to see how it ended up if we could have finished that game because like I was in the zone. I really liked that challenge.
We saw you in the zone, and I do generally think, regardless of a rock draw, I think you would have won that one. No, sorry to everyone else. Sorry. We do have one big question I want to ask you because we saw you play this game with English being your secondary language, and I think a lot of viewers tend to forget that that's what you and also Cass are doing. So, what was it like playing Survivor in that unique situation for kind of you?
The one thing that I haven't talked yet through is like you never get break from your brain. You're constantly doing work in English because there is moment also in Survivor when you are not talking like strategical game. You are talking about family stuff and that kind of stuff. I'm still doing that in English, so my brain is doing the double work that people like. It's like kind of when you are working in your daily life, you go there to 8 to 4, you do your work stuff, you want to go home and just chill. You pause everything and just chill. I never paused in those days that I spent in jungle because there was never anyone who wanted to speak Finnish with me that I could have just go through and talk about Manchester United, how they are playing. I was always like either playing Survivor in the highest level among the best players that I have ever played the game, or I was doing talks and small talks in English and still have to process my brains in extra level. So it takes a toll sometimes, but I don't want to go behind that reason that I left home. I left home because there's better player left now in the game.
I mean, you played your heart out, and again, just credit to you for being able to do that whilst speaking in a second language for
Yeah.
all of it. I've got to ask final question. What was your favourite moment in this game for you? What moment will stick out as that is Australian Survivor A versus the world to me?
I can't say anything else than our final tribal. I hope that we'll be one of those tribals that people will go and check from YouTube like years from now. And for me, I know challenges is something that I'm good at. It's something that it's fun to see from TV, and the Finnish audience is sometimes saying that like I like Survivor, but like with all the behind talks, like I can't stand the show. I like this is not Olympics. Like there's game shows for that. Like that's why I love all the lying, all the talks, and everything like that. And that really is shown in the last tribal, and it even has the challenge in it. So yeah, the last tribal, double tribal, is my favorite part of the Survivor.
I mean, that final tribal will go down in Survivor history. I'm sure it
Yeah.
will. And you will go down, Tommy, as a Survivor legend, bona fide. I have no doubt. Thank you so much for taking this time to talk with me. And once again, Tommy from Finland, thank you so much for your incredible run this season.
Thank you, Ollie. So much. So fun to meet you.